4 days. That is how long it took to erase a man's name off the cigar box he spent his life building. In early June of 2020, days after George Floyd was killed, the founder of Gurkha, one of the biggest names on the shelf, posted things to his own Facebook mocking the movement marching in the street. The screenshots tore through the cigar world overnight. An entire national fraternity, more than 150,000 members strong, turned on his brand and told people to stop buying it. He claimed his account was hacked. Nobody believed him, and nobody bought his cigars. 4 days after those posts went public, he had resigned. His stake was up for sale, and his signature was coming off the packaging. This is the fastest fall in cigar history. Subscribe before I start. The racist post you have heard about is only the middle of this. The beginning is a man who thought no customer alive could touch him. The king. To understand why 4 days matters, you have to understand who this man was on day 0. Cigar Hansotia did not run a cigar company. He ran the loudest, most expensive brand in the business. Gurkha did not sell you a cigar. It sold you the feeling that you had finally arrived. Everyone else bragged about tobacco. Gurkha bragged about the price. They soaked cigars in rare cognac, dressed them up like jewelry, and charged more for a single stick than most people spend on a good suit. They called the top line His Majesty's Reserve, because subtle was never the point, and the man behind it put his own name on the box. Not just the word Gurkha, his signature, K. Hansotia, printed on the packaging like a painter signing a canvas. That was the whole flex. I am so sure of this cigar that I will stake my own name on every one that leaves the building. Every one of those boxes was a signature waiting to become a liability, and he could not see it, because a man that rich stops believing the customer can touch him. To him, the customer was a card number and a shipping address. The customer was inventory. He was about to learn how wrong that was, in the time it takes milk to go bad. The Post. The first week of June 2020, the whole country was on fire. George Floyd had just been killed. Protests everywhere, and every brand in America was posting careful statements, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Cigar Hansotia said the wrong thing. On his own personal Facebook, under his own name, he posted a comment mocking the Black Lives Matter movement and a meme going after George Floyd himself, days after the man was killed. He probably thought it was private, a personal page, a few friends, an opinion nobody important would ever see. But nothing is private the week the whole world is paying attention. Somebody took a screenshot, and somebody dropped that screenshot into a cigar group. You have to understand how cigar people talk to each other. This is not a mass market. It is a tight, obsessive world of forums and Facebook groups and lounge regulars who all know the same brands and the same names. Drop a screenshot into that world, and it does not trend and fade. It does something worse. It travels, hand to hand, group to group, until every serious cigar buyer in the country has seen it, and every one of them now knows exactly who Cigar Hansotia is when he thinks nobody important is watching. The man who signed his name to every box had just signed his name to that too. But the post itself was survivable. What he did next was not. The lie. Now here is the part that decided everything. Not the post, the response to the post. Because Hansotia reached for the same move every cornered man reaches for. He said he was hacked. The account was not really him. Someone broke in and posted it to make him look bad. Print that on the box, right next to His Majesty's Reserve. We will wait. Nobody believed it. Not one person in that cigar world. And you already know why. Because you have watched 100 people try this exact excuse. The mysterious hacker who breaks into your account, posts the one quiet thing you actually believe, and then leaves without touching anything else. The hack that only ever posts your real opinion. Translation, I said it, I meant it, and now that it is costing me, I would very much like it back. That was the moment the story stopped being about one ugly post and became about the man. A bad post is a bad day. A bad post plus a lie about it is a character. And the customers he had never once worried about had just been handed all the proof they would ever need. The force. Here is where it would normally end. And this is the part one needs you to actually hear, because it is what makes this the only story of its kind in the entire cigar business. Normally, this is where cigar outrage dies. A brand does something ugly. A few hundred guys type never buying this again. And 2 weeks later, they are back in the same lounge buying the same sticks. Cigar smokers do not boycott. They grumble. The brands know it. That is the whole reason a brand never worries about the customer. The anger always burns out before the next order. This time the anger did not burn out, because this time it was not a few guys on a forum. This time an organized force picked it up. a group called the Krimson Society, which said it represented 20,000 black and Latino men, called for a full boycott of Gurkha. And standing behind that group was something no cigar founder had ever had to face: Kappa Alpha Psi, a historically black fraternity more than 150,000 members strong, with chapters in every corner of the country, an organization that has spent over a century knowing exactly how to move together the moment it decides something matters. This was not a comment section. This was a network. They did not just say stop buying. They put out a plan, they went to the retailers, and they made carrying Gurkha come with a name attached that no shop wanted on its shelf. For the first time in his career, Kaizad Hansotia was not facing angry individuals he could ignore one at a time. He was facing a crowd that moved as a single body, and a crowd that moves as one body does not grumble and go home. It closes the wallet, and it keeps it closed. The fall. If you have made it this far, you already know this ends badly for him. So drop the word "for" in the comments, because 4 is all the time he had left. Watch how fast it went. The posts went public on June 6th, not June of the next year, not after some long internal investigation. June 6th. By June 10th, Kaizad Hansotia had resigned as chairman of the company he built. 4 days, 96 hours between a screenshot making the rounds and the founder walking away from his own name. And it did not stop there. A new man, Jim Colucci, was put in charge. Hansotia's stake in the company, half of the entire business, was put up for sale, with the understanding that he had to get out completely. And then the part that should give you chills. The company said his name. The signature stamped on every premium box for years was coming off the packaging. Sit with that. Gurkha did not die. The brand survived by cutting out the one thing it used to brag about the most: him. The company he built looked at what his name was now worth on a box and decided it could live longer without it than with it. And it was right. I will be straight with you, the way these stories usually are not. This was not a magic overnight erasure. His name lingered on the corporate paperwork for years, and old boxes already on shelves still carried it. But do not miss the score. 4 days from a Facebook post to a founder resigning, in an industry where the customer is supposedly powerless. Tens of thousands of people closed their wallets at the same moment and pulled a multi-millionaire off the top of his own company before the following weekend. That is not a bad quarter. That is an execution. The meaning. So here is the lesson, and it is bigger than one cigar guy with a bad phone habit. Every brand you buy from is running the same quiet bet Hansotia ran, that you will never actually organize, that your anger burns out before your next order, that you are a card number they can count on. They build the whole business on you never once moving as one. And here is the part that should stay with you. Go looking through the entire history of the cigar business for another time the customers organized, moved together, and removed the man at the top. You will not find one. Gurkha 2020 is the only name on that list. One in an industry more than a century old. Every cigar company alive watched it happen and quietly understood that the customer they had ignored for decades had just shown its teeth. He forgot the only thing that was ever really his to lose. Not the brand, not the money, not the cognac. The people willing to buy it. The day they walked, he had nothing left but a name on a box, and the box no longer wanted the name. So the next time a brand treats you like you are powerless, remember the man who signed his name to every box, and how little time the people he ignored needed to take that name back down. 4 days. If this is the first time you have heard the whole story, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Has a company ever done something bad enough that you actually walked away for good? Or did you quietly go back? Be honest, because going back is exactly what he was counting on.